Hi, boys and girls. I am excited about this lesson because it's so much fun to do. I hope that you're going to love it as much as I do. We are going to create some more op art today. Now, op art is short for optical art, and that is art that uses optical illusions, and optical illusions just trick your eye. So the artist uses these optical illusions and it makes the art look like it's 3D instead of just 2D. This is just a flat piece of paper, but it looks like it's 3D. It looks like these maybe are pencils or something that are poking down in, don't they? So these are 3 little pieces that I did, and I'm going to show you how to do this. These 2 are the same. I'm going to show you how to do this today. Now, I want to tell you about an artist who is, she's one of the original op art artists, and her name is Bridget Riley. And if you look her up, you will see a lot of her amazing op art. And she uses a lot of black and white to create her art, and it's really cool. I think that you'll like it. So if you want to take a look at her art, you can do that. So what you're going to need to create your art today are just a few things. You need a piece of paper, any size. You can see that I just used a little piece here. That's just about the size of my hand. You need something to write with. I would suggest that you use a pencil to start with. I'm going to use a Sharpie only so you can see what I'm doing. But when I made this one, I started with a pencil, and then afterwards I went over and traced it with my Sharpie. But I made a lot of mistakes when I was doing this. It's super easy to do, but I confuse myself a lot when I'm doing it. And you might get confused too. So you can see a few places I went through and I marked with my pencil what color I wanted to color things so that I wouldn't get confused. And so I put an R here and an R here. And then I caught it, and so I painted them I colored them the right color. I also had some of my lines that were supposed to be curving up like a smile. I had them curving down like a rainbow, but I did it in pencil, and so I was able to erase it. So I recommend that you start with pencil so you can erase if you make a mistake, and chances are you're going to. It's really, really easy to make a mistake doing this. Okay, so you need a piece of paper, a pencil, and then a Sharpie, and maybe some colored pencils to use later on. And then you need a straight edge of some kind. So a ruler. When I made this one, I didn't have my ruler right there, so I just used a phone book as my straight edge. I just laid it on my paper, held it, and I drew my lines like this, okay? So a book or a clipboard or something like that will work just great. But get permission before you use something because you might accidentally mark on it. So you want to make sure that that you have permission to use whatever it is you're going to be using, okay? So, and then you'll want some colored pencils or maybe some crayons or markers or something to color with when you are done with your drawing, okay? So I'm gonna use my ruler, and because I'm using a Sharpie, and if you use a Sharpie or some kind of a marker to trace your pencil, you'll wanna do the same thing. I just put it on top of a newspaper because the Sharpie goes through the paper and it will mark. So see how the Sharpie went through that paper, and it will put marks on your table or desk or whatever you're writing on, okay? So paper, straight edge, pencil, Sharpie, and something to color with. Crayons, colored pencils, markers, something like that. Okay, so none of this is exact. You don't have to worry. We're gonna start by making a dot in the middle of the page. If your dot is over here, or over here, or over here, or just not right exactly in the middle, don't worry about it. It will be super cool. You're gonna find out that no matter where that dot is, it looks really cool, okay? So I'm going to make a dot in the middle of my page, and I'm not worried about making it perfect. And then I'm going to make 6 lines, and they're all going to go through this dot. Now, when I made this one, because it was so little, it's hard to believe looking at it, but I only made 4 lines. You just want an even number. So 4, 6, 8, depending on how big your paper is, okay? So since this was very small, I just made 4 lines going across, but I'm gonna make 6 lines here. So I'm going to start out by just laying my ruler down so that it goes right over my dot, so that when I make my line, it will go through that line, right through the middle, okay? So then I'm just going to keep my Sharpie straight up and go all the way across. That's another reason I want a piece of paper underneath mine so that I don't mark on my desk. So I'm gonna make 6 lines, so that's 1. And again, I want every one to go through my dot in the middle, okay? So this is 2. And I don't worry about whether they're all the same size or not. 3. 4, 5, 'Did I even mark on that one? 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't even mark it. What was I doing? No telling. Okay, I'm going to try that one again. This is 5. I must have just drawn right on my straight edge. There we go. That was crazy. See what I'm talking about? It's so easy to make a mistake. And 6. Okay, so now I've drawn my 6 lines. It looks like a lot more than 6 lines, doesn't it? And I can see that this one got off a little bit. It's not exactly in the center. If I did this with the pencil first, then I would probably fix that line, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna leave it. So now here's what we're going to do. We're just going to make some curved lines. We're going to start out by making some smiles in one row, and then we're going to make rainbows in the next. So I'm gonna make nice curves, just like when we did our hand. I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna just start here. You can start anywhere you want, and I'm gonna make 4 curved lines. So 1, 2, 3, and this one's going to kind of go off the page there. 4. Okay, so in each section I'm going to make 4 curved lines. Now I'm going to go to the next section, and now instead of making a smile, I'm going to make a rainbow, and I'm just going to alternate them. So I'm going to just touch this first line because I want it to connect, and I'm going to make my rainbow. And I'm going to make 4 of them again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to make smiles, and I'm just going to do the same thing all the way around. And when I get to some small pieces, if I don't have room to go off the page, that's okay. I mean, if I'm going to go off, I just go as far as I think it should go, like I did on this one. See how it just goes like that? Okay, so now I did smiles, so now I'm going to do rainbows again. And I'm just doing the whole thing. Go all the way around. Getting nice big curves is the secret. So you want to make sure that you've got some nice big curves. It's going to look kind of wavy because of the way they're all connecting. So that was a smile. Now I'm going to make a rainbow. And you want an even number of lines because that's what's going to make sure that when you get over here, you're going in the right direction. So you have to be careful. Oops, see how I just made a mistake and I didn't take it all the way over here? That's what I'm talking about why you want to use a pencil first. Super easy to make mistakes doing this. 2, 3, and then this one's going to go off the edge of the page, so I'm just going to go right there. There we go. That's 4 now. I'm going to make my rainbow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smile. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rainbow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Smile. 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to make my last rainbow. And can you see on either side, I've got my smiles. So that's what having an even number of lines does. It creates, it makes it so it all comes out. So that already looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So now it's just time to color. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something so that this is going to be the end product. Now, if you wanted to do just black and white or just another color in white, absolutely do that. And you can see that I just did opposites. So white, black, and here this is white, so that's black. Black, white, black, white. White, black, white, black, black, white, black, white. Okay? So that's all I did. But what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to mark the colors because it's so easy to make a mistake. So I'm going to start right here and I'm just going to put a little mark so I know that's going to be red. There, skip, red, skip, red, okay? And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to skip this one. This will be my blue. And then I'm going to go red, skip, red, skip, red. And I just do that all the way around because that way I will have that little mark to help me remember what color, because it's so easy to get confused doing this. I'm telling you, I confuse myself all the time. Okay, and then this is my last red. All right, and then I'm going to take blue, because I'm just going to use the same color I did there. And now I'm going to do the opposite. So I've got a red down here, right here at the center. So I'm going to put my blue here. Blue, blue. And I'm just going to go around and do the same thing. I'm going to mark them going opposite. So I've got my red here. This is going to stay white, red, white, red, white, red, white. Okay, so there's a pattern. So then it's blue, white, going all the way around. So got my blue, blue, and I'm just putting a little, oops, see what I'm talking about? Look at that. I put blue marks in my red. So let's see, I don't have an eraser here, do I? So that's something else you want to have. You want to have an eraser. I put that in the wrong place. I always confuse myself. Okay, blue pencil, blue, blue. And then there's nothing here, so I know that's where I am. Blue, blue. It's white, blue, blue, white, blue, blue. Okay, and then I need to get an eraser so that I can erase these that I put in my red column, because if I don't erase it, I will still be confused when I start to color it. So I need those blues to come right out of there. And if you just used a regular pencil, you could always just go and put a B and an R or whatever color you're using, okay? So then I'm just going to start coloring, and I'm just going to fill it in, and I'm going to make it kind of light, because what I want to do is right on the edges, I want to darken it up a little bit. Right around the edge, I'm going to get a little bit of shading in there to make it look a little bit more round. See how on this one, see how it's a little darker on the edges? That helps to make it look a little bit rounder. So mostly I'm doing it pretty light, and then on the edges, I'm going to darken it a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of fill that in. You can also lay it down and use the side of your colored pencil if you're using a colored pencil, or even a marker. You can do that with a marker. And I'm just going to fill that in. I like to always make my pencil lines go in the same direction. I always think that looks neater, but when I get right along the edge, it's a little bit hard to keep them all going in the same direction. So then I'll just lightly put them in the easiest way for me to get them in. And then I can always color over it a little bit so it still looks neat. And then I'm just going to darken the edges a little. And you don't have to do that. It's just something that I like to do. And I like to line up kind of where it's light, that highlight in there, line those up with each other piece, okay? And again, you don't have to do this, or you can do it at the end if you want, after you've already colored it all. So this is a red, and see how I've got my pattern, red, white, and I'm just going to fill this one in, get my newspaper there so that I don't color all over my counter. And then I'm going to turn my pencil, and I'm just going to keep on doing this, and I'm going to go all the way around. And what I like to do is I like to do all of one color at a time. So I would just keep on doing the red. I would just go around and do all of the red first, and then I would come back and do all of the blue, okay? Also, if I wanted to color the whites another color, I absolutely could. So if you want to put green or yellow or orange or some other color in here, that looks super cool too. So however you want to do it. I did this mostly because it was a little bit faster to do it this way, and I wanted you to have something that didn't take a terribly long time. Although this will take you a while to do. I would say count on 45 minutes to an hour to do this. Oh my goodness, is that the one I erased? Or did I do another one wrong also? I think that was when I tried to erase. So you can count on it taking you a little while. Just take your time. And because you're going to start out yours in pencil also, and then you're going to trace it with a dark crayon or Sharpie or marker, colored pencil, something that's dark, okay, to get these dark lines, because you really need those dark lines in there. All right, and I'm just going to keep on coloring all of my reds. Hopefully I can get that little blue mark out of there. I can lay my colored pencil like this on the side, and it will color much faster if I lay it on the side like that. That's good for running around the edge too, okay? So I'll just keep on doing this, going around, and then when I get all of my red done, then I'm going to pick up my blue, and I'm going to go around and do all of the blue, okay? And then when I'm done, it's going to look like this. And see how I have a row of red, blue, and you can see the patterns, how they go. So it's really just a series of patterns, and those curved lines are what really give you that depth and that movement sort of look, getting those nice curved lines. If it is confusing or hard at first, that's okay. Just try it again later. Turn your paper over, use the back of the paper, use a little piece of paper, and just make 4 lines instead of 6 lines, and then it will go much faster and you'll start to get the hang of it faster. It's super fun to do, and I think it's pretty relaxing too, because I like to color, and so it's relaxing just to sit here with my colored pencils and color. And that's why I like to mark it ahead of time, because that way I won't make a mistake when I'm making my coloring, when I'm doing my coloring, although as you can see, I did. So those people who say there are no mistakes in art are just kidding you, because I make mistakes all the time. But that's okay. I try to work them out and make them work for me, and sometimes I can and sometimes I can't, and that's all right, because we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Okay, boys and girls, after I'm going to post this, you already know if you're watching this, probably. I'm going to post it on YouTube and Class Dojo, and when you do some up art, would you post a picture for me so I can see what you do, because I'm super excited to see your work. Boys and girls, I love you and I miss you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.